The Black Dahlia was one of the most sensational murder mysteries back in the 1940s. It was huge with the press at the time. And what was so interesting about this Black Dahlia character, Elizabeth Short was her name, was that she was found in a neighborhood, cut in half, and completely drained of blood and all her fluids. She was found by, like, I don't know, a mother walking down the street or something like that. And so she was found in 1947. It was like January 15th that she was found. She was 22 years old when she had passed away. So who is this Elizabeth Short? She is a person who was considered a Hollywood hopeful. She wanted to do, she wanted to be an actress just like everybody else did back then. She wanted to do that. She had applied for other regular jobs. She really wasn't of anybody who was important or anything like that. She was a model, and she would go out partying quite a bit. She had been charged with like underage drinking when she was younger. She was 22 when she passed away, but yeah, so somehow this girl got caught up into something where she ended up dead. She ended up dead, and nobody knew who did it. So the way that she was found was very, I'm going to say medical. It was very medical, and there was no blood around her, which means that she was drained of all her fluids prior to being placed there and just kind of dumped on the side of the road. It's an interesting thing. She was called the Black Dahlia just because she had a preference for black sheer clothing, and there was a movie that had come out recently prior to that called The Blue Dahlia. So of course the press coming up with their own names of things, they're just like, oh, now her name is the Black Dahlia. It was big. There was, a couple of, people who were questioned and whatnot. Especially the guy who had dropped her off at some party or something like that. But he had passed, the inquiries, even with polygraph. There was no other real evidence that this guy was involved, so he was let go. I don't remember what his name was. Yeah, I don't. The only one that really had a lot of question for it was a guy by the name of George Hodel. George Hodel. Now, this guy, he had medical training. He worked in the local virus and communicative disease center or something like that. So he did have medical training in regards to things, and he also had a secret room in his house. His son had joined the LAPD. His son was 5 years old at the time when this occurred. His son joined the LAPD. If you hear banging, it's because the neighbors having work done. So sorry. Anyway, so his son had joined the LAPD and spent a lot of his time investigating his own father, which his father, I believe, died. Let me check this real quick. I don't know what year he died. George Hodel. Okay, he died in 1999. His son spent a lot of time, investigating his own father as a cop and everything like that, and was convinced that it was his father that did it. He was convinced, and he expressed why on a lot of his stuff. So let's ask some questions about this very, very famous case, even though it seems pretty simple. It seems actually very simple to me. Sure, there's, some random pieces to it, like this secret room or whatever. This is a girl trying to get ahead in life, that kind of thing. Show me, let's see, I want to see who was Elizabeth Short. Well, tell me what she was like here, Spirit, please. Thank you for being here. I do appreciate you. Spirit, tell me about Elizabeth Short. And what they keep saying is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I feel like this case has been blown way out of proportion just because it's the media. Okay, so who she is doesn't really matter. So did Elizabeth know this George guy? King of Swords? Yes, she did. She knew this guy. King of Swords. That that King of Swords comes up on a regular basis when it signifies somebody who really knows what they're doing. Somebody confident and cold with that sword, you know? Wow. Okay, so she knew him. How did Elizabeth Short know George Hodel, please? We've got Queen of Swords coming up and Three of Swords. Interesting. Three of Swords, Queen of Swords. Wow. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm doing the math in my head here. He died in 1999 at the age of, I think I saw the wrong age. Age of 91. Okay. Which means that he was born, he was like 30 something when this murder happened. And what I'm sensing with this is that she wanted to be his other half, and he didn't want to. Other half, was he married at the time? Was he married? He lived overseas several times, primarily between 1950 and 1990 in the Philippines. Interesting. He even ran away after this murder. He was married to a Dorothy Harvey at the time. Yeah, he was born in 1907, so he's 40 years old at the time. Interesting. Dorothy Harvey. Interesting. Or was it somebody, was his wife having an issue? Tell me about this Queen of Swords, please. Tell me about this Queen of Swords. We've got the Eight of Cups. Wheel of Fortune. Oh yeah, okay. Okay, I'm thinking back to like what I was watching here. So like this guy, this George Hodel, he has like 11 children with 5 women. So he was quite expressive. He was quite expressive. So it wouldn't surprise me if he was, you know, seeking out other gratification with this Elizabeth Short. And something happened with this Queen of Swords. It could have been his wife. Could have been his wife. George Hodel's wife had found out about whatever was going on with George and Elizabeth and was forcing it to separate in regards to that. And so how did Elizabeth know this guy? We've got Three of Wands, Knight of Wands, and Justice. He was on the prowl. He was on the prowl looking for somebody. I don't think he was looking for somebody to kill, though. I don't think he was looking for somebody to kill. I think he just wanted to, you know, find somebody to mess around with, you know. Obviously is very active, you know, from a sexual perspective. And so, but something about something about Elizabeth Short, his wife didn't like. What did his wife do? I don't even know. I don't think I can find out either. Because he had a marriage to Dorothy Anthony, a fashion model from San Francisco, and they had a daughter named Tamar. He graduated from Berkeley pre-med, like I said, medical training. He had his medical degree in 1936. He was head of the county's Social Hygiene Bureau. And he was moving in affluent LA society by the 1940s. He was enamored of the darker side of surrealism and decadence surrounding that art scene. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. With Ray and some other surrealists, he shared an interest in sadomasochism. And with the young men of Hollywood scene, he shared a fondness for partying, drinking, and womanizing. Thing is that, like, Elizabeth Short was known to be a partier, so she probably met him at some party. All these wands right here, it's a party. It says Hodel was effectively a polygamist. In the late 1940s, around the time of the deaths of Spalding and Elizabeth Short. Who's Spalding? I don't know. Let's find out. Elizabeth Short. Hodel was living with Dorero and their 3 children. His first legal wife, Dorothy Anthony, and their daughter, Tamar, and at times his original common-law wife, Amelia, mother of Hodel's eldest child, by that time an adult. He was also prone to taking temporary lovers. A witness later suggested such a relationship between Hodel and Short. Well, that explains that. So that she was involved. But somebody didn't like her. Somebody didn't like her. And took care of her. That kind of thing. Or made him take care of her. Something happened. Wow. Okay. Ooh. Okay. So why did Spirit, why did Hodel, okay, hold on, let's confirm. Spirit, was the Hodel the one that killed her? Oh, first answer was no. Oh. Excuse me. Somebody who's associated with him did? I'm betting it's this Queen of Swords right here. Okay, was it one of his partners? Was it one of his partners, please? I'm hearing a yes, but it's hesitant. The Magician. It's hesitant. Why is it so hesitant? Tell me about this Magician, please. Seven of Cups, 8 of Wands, and 3 of Pentacles. This person had a plan. This person had a plan. They had a plan with Hodel. And this person was getting in the way. And Short was getting in the way. Oh. It's weird because, you know, Hodel was the one with the medical training, right? Hodel was the one with the medical training. Cut in half. Why? You know? Like, why would you cut somebody in half? I don't understand. I don't understand. Why was she cut in half, please? Why? Why was she cut in half, please? So we have 10 of Swords and 3 of Wands. Interesting. Okay. 10 of Swords and 3 of Wands. Okay, so what was going on with this one? Because we get the 3 of Wands that came up here and how Elizabeth had met him. So like, not an option. Just not an option. Like, Elizabeth was not to be an option. 100%. She had expectations. Elizabeth had expectations. She wanted to get in with that affluent society. And she probably saw that, you know, Hodel was living with all these women, right? Hodel was living with all these women. And she wanted in on that, you know. I mean, he lived in a house that was built by Frank Lloyd Wright's son. Yeah. We have the Page of Wands here. She had a little idea. She's like, maybe I can get my foot in there. And then this Queen of Swords says, no, that's not going to happen. 10 of Wands. Wow. No, that's not going to happen. Like this Queen of Swords had, whoever is signified by this Queen of Swords, I cannot tell who it is the one that turned around and said, we've got something that's working here. We've got something that's working here. You've got an option. We need to make this work. 7 of Cups. You have a choice here. And you better make it quick. Look at that Page of Cups regarding this new relationship. It's not, so it's like a lover's dispute. That's like this whole, how this whole thing is going here. It's like a lover's dispute. Wheel of Fortune, Hanged Man. It's time for something new, something different. Somebody might have like really threatened whoever this Queen of Swords, you know, Elizabeth might have threatened her. So, or she felt threatened by Elizabeth. Look at that, 3 of Pentacles again. And she wanted to keep it to friendship. She wanted that relationship to stay to friendship. Stay polite is the word I'm looking for here. So, wow. Okay, so that's what happened. Hodel was involved, but I don't think he was the one that chose to do it. One of his wives asked him to do it. Or did it. I don't have any history on his wives. I don't know if they're medically trained as well. I don't know anything about that. And like his son, George, what's his son's name? No, his son's name wasn't George, I don't think. Anyway, so his son, you know, who was 5 at the time, says that he thought that his dad did it. He thought his dad did it, which could have been the case, but he wasn't the one that initiated it. I think he was actually attracted to her, honestly. He was attracted to her. I feel like he was kind of like duped into it. I'm going to say duped. Kind of like, oh, well, let's try, what's it called when you like mess around with dead people? What's it called? Not an F. Anyways, there's a name for it. There's a name for it when you like do that. So, like, well, let's see what that's like. Queen of Cups, 10 of... Interesting. Drained of all fluids. Kind of effectively making her like a toy. You know, cut in half. Oh, look, I've got this right here that you can mess with. See what that's like. Which is insanely gross to normal people. Insanely disgusting. But this guy had a weird appetite, right? He had a weird appetite. What if it wasn't even like her bottom half? What if it was somebody else's bottom half? He was so into surrealism. Let's get into like weird movie. All right. I think we're done with this right here. We're pretty sure that it wasn't actually Hodel's idea to do it. He may have actually done the actual action, but he wasn't the mental initiator of the whole thing. So, wow. All right. Well, thanks so much for being here. If you have any suggestions for any future readings to investigate, I'd like to do some ones that are a little bit more complex than this one. This one just seems, it's very straightforward. Pretty straightforward to me. I like these ones where it's like, oh, this person disappeared, and then we found their body over here, and you know, that kind of thing. We know a little bit more about what's going on. So even like current cases, I'd like to do. So thanks so much for being here. I do appreciate you. And I will see you next time.